In this episode, we're going to talk about something called an impossible goal and why that can actually be a good thing. There's fun and power in it, according to our guest, Avish Parashar. Welcome back.
Yeah, so if you've ever done goal setting or anything, you've heard of SMART goals, which is a nice little acronym. And the R, I believe, stands for reasonable. I set these types of goals my whole life, and they never worked. They never motivated me. And then I switched to setting impossible goals. And an impossible goal, that might be a bit of a misnomer because it's a goal that you have a chance of succeeding at, but there's a great likelihood you would fail. And that just opened up my world in such an interesting way. One of the improv things is the willingness to fail. And, that fear of failure, I think, is one of the biggest things that holds people back. When you set a reasonable goal, there's a lot of pressure of failure because you should be able to do it if you really are disciplined and focused and don't. When you set a goal that is so big, you are likely not to succeed, the fear of failure almost goes away completely because there's no expectation of success. Now, the key here is it has to be a goal that excites you to think about achieving and excites you to think about pursuing. So, if I just set a goal about doubling my revenue, that's a big goal, or let's say 10 times in my revenue. And yes, achieving that goal is very exciting. Pursuing that goal doesn't excite me, the day-to-day activities. So that's not a good impossible goal. So this is, not a lot of people know this, but I guess they will now. So I set an impossible goal early on in this pandemic that, I want to get a Netflix special. I want to be on Netflix doing my one-man improv thing. Now, am I going to get that today? No. Will I get that in a year doing what I'm doing now? No. But what that forces me to do with that big goal, it forces me to focus and it forces me to change everything I'm doing right now. If you got a reasonable goal of hey, I want to increase my revenue by 50%, you know what you got to do? Work a little bit longer and harder. If you set a goal, let's say a 10 times goal of that revenue, you can't just do more. You got to change everything. And that's why I think an impossible goal is so cool. It forces you to innovate. It forces you to do something new and different. And I'll tell you, I have been doing these solo improv things. I have been doing YouTube. I have felt more engaged in my day-to-day activities the past 2 months than I have in the previous 5 years of working towards this.
Is it because you're thinking of Netflix in the back of your mind? You still got that
Yeah,
impossible goal?
because the day-to-day stuff I'm doing stuff that excites me to build towards something. That's why you have to be excited by the outcome and you have to be excited by the process. So set that impossible goal, and it's so motivating and exciting. The other benefit to setting an impossible goal is one of three things will happen. Number one, you'll succeed. Of course, that's wonderful. Number two, you'll fail, but you'll learn something, or you'll get a new idea. I may not get the Netflix goal, but already in 2 months, what I've done has already opened my mind and creativity to things I would not have thought of before. So it's worth pursuing even if you don't achieve it. Number three, this is highly unlikely, but it's possible you won't achieve it and won't learn anything. In that case, it seems like a waste of time. It sort of is. It's very unlikely. But the other thing that will happen is you can let that idea go. And we've all had ideas that are kicking around in our minds for years, and we keep saying, maybe someday, And until you actually try it, that idea will never go away. And until that idea goes away, you aren't opening up room for new ideas.
Right. And then if it's still hanging on, then it's kind of gnawing away at us, and we're kind of always just wondering what if. And
yeah, and every time you think of another idea, you're well, maybe I should do this and this idea. Just try it, get it out of your head.
I love that shift of perspective. Great stuff coming from you this week. A change expert, motivational speaker, and we've got more with you tomorrow here on the Help and Healing Hangout.